Okay, student, good morning. Today we are going to continue our discussion on chapter 11. Today I hope to cover two more topics, weighted average cost of capital or WACC. All right. So on Tuesday, we have discussed cost of debt, cost of equity. The next step is to add it up. Right. How to add it up? We use the weighted average. All right. Think about you are a corporate manager. Right? You want to know the cost of your capital for NPV calculation, right? So you calculate the cost of debt, cost of equity. The final step is to calculate the weighted average. Okay, so let's show you how to calculate the weighted average. So when financial analysts think about calculating WACC, they usually think as the weighted average of the company after tax cost of debt. So here we have to address the issue about cost of debt. We use the after tax cost of debt. All right. So you can say it's the benefit of the debt. Right. Second, cost of preference share, and the third, cost of ordinary share. Right, so we consider different types of capital, then add them up. This is our WACC. All right, so cost of debt, KD, 1 minus T, after tax cost of debt. Right, KPS, cost of preference share, KOS, cost of ordinary share. X is the weight, right? The weight on debt, weight on preference share, weight on ordinary share. Add it up, all right? And the sum of the weights equal to 1, right? Okay, so for me, this equation is easy to understand, all right? Now, next slide, we give you the example to do the calculation, right? In our example 1, we have two types of capital, equity and debt. Right, so equity, you can see I give you the information for KPM model. I have beta, risk-free rate, and market risk premium. Right, so I am able to calculate the cost of equity, right? And we also need the weight. So you can see we need to know the value of equity to decide the weight of equity. So we have 500 million share, and the share price is $80 per share. So market value of equity will be 500 million share times 80, 4 billion. Right? This for equity information. Next, debt information. So this company has a 1 billion in outstanding debt, right, in terms of bond. Right? The bond price now is $1,100. Par value or face value 1,000. So sometimes we use the percentage to show the bond price. Right? So the quote 110%. 110%, that means par value 1,000, bond price 1,100, right? Coupon rate 9%. Right? So having this information, I know how to calculate the bonds yield or YTM. Right? There's a point, payment semi-annual. So I need to convert or adjust the data according to payment frequency, semi-annual. All right. For example, 15 years to maturity. The number of periods will be 15 times 2, 30. Right. Coupon rate 9%. This is 1 year rate. Semi-annual rate will be 4.5%. All right. Then after I have the bond yield is the cost of debt. and I need a weight. So we have 1 million in outstanding debt. Market value will be 1.1 billion. That is 1 billion times the market price, 1,100. Right. So overall, I know how to do the calculation. Next, I show you the detail. All right. So what is the cost of debt? Right. You may refer to our chapter 8, bond chapter. Right. So we have the information of the bond. Right. Then we have the bond year or cost of debt. This is the number. Right. But please note, type 2, that means we have to convert a 7-year rate to 1-year rate. So the final number is here, right? Around 7.8%. Then what's the cost of equity? We use a capital model. We learn capital model in chapter 7. This is our result. Next, after tax cost of debt. So as a corporate manager, you know the benefit of the debt is a tax. After tax cost of debt will be our cost of debt times 1 minus tax rate. C stands for corporate. So corporate tax rate. In the example, tax rate is 0.4. Right. So this is our after tax cost of debt. Step 4, capital structure weight. So we need to know the debt value, equity value. Here, the detail. Adding up total value of the firm. And the weight on debt will be the debt value divided by the total value. This is the weight on debt. Weight on equity, equity value divided by total value. This is the number. All right. And you can check your number. When you add it up, the value is 1. All right, the total. Okay, now we have all the information. You can see the final step is to add it up using weighted average. So our weight will be weight on debt times cost of the debt. Right? Don't forget, after tax cost of debt. All right, so we have all the information in our previous discussion. Right, these are numbers. Plus cost on equity times cost of equity here. Right, then our final answer, our final number is here, is a weight. All right. So we'd like to discuss the issue of cost of debt. So you can see in our example, after tax cost of debt will be lower than cost of equity. So in practice, cost of debt will be lower than cost of equity. One reason, tax, right? We have 1 minus T, right? However, corporate manager also need to think about the consequence of debt. The consequence of that is bankruptcy cost. All right. Bankruptcy cost is when the company goes bankrupt, the company value will drop largely and immediately. All right. So this is the issue. I remember I used myself example. For me, bankruptcy cost is a very big issue. If I go bankrupt, I can see I will lose everything, right? So company need to consider this point. And some company, their bankruptcy cost is high. Other bankruptcy cost will be low, all right? So let me give you an example, like a high-tech company, right? So the company's value depends on know-how. For this type of company, their bankruptcy cost is very high, all right? For example, unit. Our unit for me, the bankruptcy cost for unit is very high. If our unit has some financial problem, you know what happened. Good student will be gone. Good teacher will leave. Right. On the other hand, some company, their bankruptcy cost will be low, like a utility company, for example, energy company. For example, for me, Genesis, right? I think their bankruptcy cost will be low because their value, they have a lot of tangible asset, equipment. All right. So even they go bankrupt, they can still get some money. All right. So this is a very important issue. We don't have time to discuss that, but for me, it's very important. So chapter 12, our title is capital structure. This chapter is to discuss the weight on debt and the weight on equity. So manager, they need to think about the cost of debt. The debt has a benefit after tax, 1 minus t after tax is a benefit. But you also need to think about the consequence of the debt, the bankruptcy cost. Okay, I hope I addressed this issue, and you can learn more about this issue in our 200 level paper. All right. So now we are going to discuss the example 2, right? So example 1, we have 2 types of capital. Example 2, we take one more step. We have 3 types of capital. We have debt, ordinary share, and the preference share. Right? The concept is the same. Right? We calculate the cost of each type of capital, then weighted average. All right. So let's consider this example, example 2. So for debt, and for debt we have different type of debt. All right. So I just highlight some key number and the key information for you. Right. So for debt, the company has a loan, right? Interest rate 6%. Right? So cost of the first loan 6%, and the company has another debt, a second loan, right? And the rate is 5.5%, right? And I also give you the value of each type of debt. First loan, 4 million. Second loan, 3 million. All right. The third type of debt is bond. So the company has bond, right? And 2-year bond, right? 2 years ago, for 11 million. And the bond, we do the calculation for you. The bond's yield is 7%. Right, so you can see for the debt, we have 3 types of debt. First loan, second loan, and bond. All right. Tax rate is 30%, right? 30%. So we have 3 types of debt. Then we add it up again using weighted average. So in my calculation, you can see I will use the weighted average to add it up. And I will add one more term, 1 minus tax rate. It's after tax cost of debt. All right. This is a concept. I will show you the detail on the following slides. All right. This for debt. The second type of capital is preference share. When I see the preference share, I know it's perpetuity, right? A constant coupon payment forever, right? Sorry, a constant dividend payment, dividend payment forever, all right? So you can see an annual dividend of 4.5% on the state value of $100. So 4.5% times $100, that means $4.5, a constant forever. So I know I can use the perpetuity formula to calculate the cost of preference share, right? Next, ordinary share, right? This is information, the value 1 million, and I can see the key variable beta. So I know I use a Kaplan model to calculate the cost of ordinary share, all right? So after we have cost of debt, cost of preference share, cost of ordinary share, final step, add them up using weighted average. All right. So now we are going to show you the detail. But for me, I hope students, you know the concept, right? about the detail, you may need some practice, right? So you can see how we do that. So it's a cost of debt, but please note, pre-tax cost of debt, right? We have not considered the tax yet. So you can see we have first loan, loan 1, second loan, loan 2, and the bond, right? Weighted average. Then this is our breakdown. So 6.5% is pre-tax cost of debt. Right. Then cost of preference share. We use the perpetuity formula. Dividend divided by price of preference share. This is a number. Cost of ordinary share. We use the CAPM model, the beta, and this is the number. Finally, WACC. So we use the WACC formula. Right? It's our final answer. So for cost of debt, we have 1 minus T after tax cost of debt. Weight on debt, weight on preference share, weight on ordinary share. Then we have the final result. All right. Okay. Yeah, I know this example includes some calculation, but my focus will be the concept. About the calculation, I hope students you can practice yourself. All right. So we finished the discussion on the weighted average cost of capital. So let me review some key concepts for you. Okay, WACC. So when I think about WACC, I need two types of information. One is capital structural weight. So I need to know the equity, market value of the firm's equity. It's the number of outstanding shares times the price per share. Second, debt value. Market value of the firm's debt is the number of outstanding bonds times the price per bond. Right. After I have equity value, debt value, total value. Total value is equity value plus debt value. Right. Then we can decide the weight. The weight on equity. Equity value divided by total value. And weight on debt. Debt value divided by total value. All right. And in our previous discussion, we show you how to calculate cost of equity, cost of debt. Right? But I remember cost of debt, we need to add this additional term, 1 minus T, right? After tax, cost of debt. Right? So when I think about debt, I know debt has a benefit, tax benefit, but I also know the bankruptcy cost. All right. Okay, this is our topic 1, for today, weighted average cost of capital, WACC. Okay. Now we are going to discuss the conditions of using WACC. So we know after we have WACC, then we are ready to do the NPV or project valuation. Right? I think in our group assignment, I have one question about this issue, right? So I review my cost of debt, right? And I have 2 projects, current job and a new job, right? Then I can use the WACC to do the NPV calculation. But now we like to address the conditions of using WACC. So let me go to the next slide. So conditions of using WACC as a discount rate. We have 2 conditions. Conditional 1, a company WACC should be used to calculate the cash flow for a new project. I like to address this word, new project. Only if the level of systematic risk for the project is the same as that for the whole portfolio of the project. Right? That the current company currently comprise the company. All right. So again, I like to address this point. Cost cost of capital to a company is return to investor. And when I see the return, like I have a reaction, return, I will go link to risk, right? Return and risk will go together, all right? So when we use the WACC for a new project, we have one assumption. The new project will have the same risk like the firm, all right? So this is the first condition. Second condition, a company WACC should be used to evaluate a project only if the project uses the same financing mix. That means the same proportions of debt, preference share, and ordinary share used to finance the company as a whole. Right? Remember the WACC, we consider weighted average. So when we use a WACC for new project, the another condition is financing mix. All right, we have the same financing mix. All right. Okay. I'd like to use my handwritten note to explain this issue in a simple way. This is what I remember. So when I do the WACC, I don't repeat the formula, right? I hope you remember the WACC formula. I need two pieces of information. One is cost of debt, cost of equity. The other piece of information I need is weight, the weight. So when we do the WACC calculation, so far our focus is how the money is raised. Right? The WACC is based on the current capital structure of the firm. Right? However, when we consider a new project, the new project, we discuss how the money is used, right? The future cash flow, right? New project bring us the future cash flow. And this new project will have different risks. And I know risk and the return will go together. Different risk, different required return. Return is the cost. So different cost, right? Okay. So like we have different projects, we need to consider the risk of the project, right? And we have different division. So within the company, we have different division. Different division might have different risk, different return, different cost. All right. So overall, you need to know when we use WACC, for the new project, when we use the WACC for a new project, we need two conditions: the same risk and the same financing missing. All right. So next slide. But division and the project, they don't have the same risk. All right. And they don't have the same financing missing. So division and the project will require separate or different discount rate. Right? So a single corporate WACC is not very useful for companies that have several disparate division. Like here, I give you an example, like our new medical school is a new project, right? So when they do the NPV, they may consider our current capital structure, our current cost of debt, our current cost of equity, and the current weight. But for the new medical school, I think we cannot use the same weighted average cost of capital, right? Because they might have different risk, right? And the different financing mix, right? So let me use myself example. Again, I prefer using myself example because I hope it can help you understand. So I'm thinking, 10 years ago, I have two projects, right? One, my current job in Taiwan. The other one, a new job in New Zealand. So you can see the two jobs, they are exclusive projects. I can only choose one, all right? Next, when I make a decision, of course, there should be many considerations. As a finance person, I will consider NPV for each job, right? Then to do the NPV, I have the cash flow and the cost of capital, right? So I use my current debt and the equity to decide my cost of capital, right? So there's a small question. Can I use the same cost of capital or the WACC for both projects? The answer will be no, because for me, the new project, the new job will have different risk. And when I move to new country, my financing mix will change. All right. So I cannot use the same WACC. All right. So in a good assignment, I use myself example. I think this example could be helpful for our young people because I think in New Zealand, a lot of people, they are thinking to move to Australia. Right? My son, he told me he like to move to Australia. Okay, so what I told him is, in addition to the cash flow, the salary, you also need to think about the risk. All right, there will be different type of risk. And for me, moving to a new country, getting a new job will involve higher risk. All right, so I just take 1 more minute to show you how I consider this point. I remember 10 years ago when I have the campus visit, the dean interviewed me. My question, I have several questions, but the most important question is, I asked him, the position is tenured? I mean, tenure is a description in a US system. That means the unit cannot fire the faculty member with no reason, all right? I remember the dean replied to me, a tenure position is for US system. In the UK, we use a permanent position. He told me here, the permanent position is equal to the tenure position in the United States. But after I'm been here for 10 years, no, it's not, to be honest, it's not. So you can see the risk should be an issue. You don't understand the new job and the new system, you don't know what happened. So uncertainty of the future cash flow is an issue. Right, so this is why I think the risk will be higher, all right, because new country, new system, new environment, all right? So that's my point, right? So I hope you can think about this question and this case study, I think is helpful. Okay, so next slide. So we go to the next slide. So using the WACC as our discount rate is only appropriate for projects that have the same risk as the firm's current operation. So for me, the risk is the key. All right, financing missing, of course, is another reason, but for me, the risk is the key. All right, if we are looking at the project that not have the same risk as the firm, then we need to determine the appropriate discount rate for that project. All right. So normally, the new project will not have the same risk as the firm. So we need to determine appropriate discount rate. That means how to determine higher risk, higher required return, lower rate, lower required return. All right. So next slide, we give you the example, right? So you the project, right? So we have 3 projects. So consider you are a company manager. You have 3 projects, project A, B, C, right? And each project, the IRR, the internal rate of return of the project, right? And required return. So required return based on the risk, higher required return. So you can see A, higher required return, 20%. So A, higher risk. C, lower required return, low risk, right? So our WACC, so you are the company manager, you consider your capital structure, you decide your WACC is 15%, right? Please know, 15%, the WACC is based on your firm, right? Your firm's current capital structure. So if you use the WACC for the discount rate, right? So you compare 15% to the IRR. Then you will see A and B, they are higher than 15%. You accept projects A and B. However, if you consider the risk of each project, you use the required return to compare the IRR. Then you will accept B and C, right? Because the B and the C, their IRR are higher than the required return. Then we can make a comparison. So the comparison is here. Using the WACC, you can see we incorrectly accept project A. Right? Project A is a high-risk project. Right? And we incorrectly reject project C. Project C is a low-risk project. Right? So because you use the WACC like a constant for all the projects, you don't consider the risk of different projects. So you will incorrectly accept high-risk project and incorrectly reject the low-risk project. Okay. So next slide, we give you the summary. So what happened when we use the WACC? So we accept a risky project, that is project A, right? Incorrect acceptance, right? And we reject a less risky project. In our example, project C, right? It's an incorrect rejection. So what will happen to the overall risk of the firm if a company does it on a consistent basis? That means using the WACC for all the project. The consequence is the firm will become riskier because we accept a risky project and reject a less risky project. So the company or the firm will become riskier, and the loss decrease its value because higher risk, lower fund value. All right. So this is our final conclusion. Okay. And finally, I use the graph to show you the incorrect acceptance and the incorrect rejection. So I use a graph to show you this concept. Okay, think about our beta. Beta is our risk, and the vertical line is our expected return. Right. So we have the security market line. Right. Please refer to our chapter 7. So security market line tells us higher risk, higher return. Right. This is our security market line. So security market line shows us the required return. So we can see required return by the security market line, right? So up with the beta, higher risk, higher required return. And our WACC is cost of capital. And if we don't consider the risk, we will use the WACC for all the projects. So like a WACC will be a horizontal line, a constant for different projects because we don't consider the risk, right? We don't consider risk, so WACC is a constant, right? So you can see this area, this triangle area is incorrect acceptance, all right? Because if you use WACC, you can see this area, the return is higher than WACC, you accept. But if you use the security market line, the return here is lower than our required return. All right. So this area is incorrect acceptance. Then incorrect rejection. Here, this triangle is incorrect rejection. For example, this point, you can see using the WACC, the return is under the cost of capital, so we reject. But if you use the security market line, the return is higher than the security market line, higher than the required return, we should accept. So this area is incorrect rejection. Right. Okay, so overall, the conclusion is using the WACC for all the projects, the consequence is incorrect acceptance and incorrect rejection, and the firm value will go down. Right? So how to adjust? The point is adjust the discount rate according to project risk. So if we have a new project, the new project has the same risk as the firm, we can use the WACC as the discount rate. But if the risk is higher, for example, we have high risk, very high, then we increase our WACC. For example, high risk increased by 5%, very high increased by 10%. Right? On the other hand, just show you the direction. When risk is going up, we need to increase the required return. But the 5% and 10% is just example. Of course, the manager, they need to make a decision. But how high is high enough? We don't know. It will depend on the manager expertise and their knowledge. No. It just show you the concept. So I just need to know the project variation is very difficult. It's very difficult because we need to estimate the future cash flow and the risk of the future cash flow. Right? We know they are different. Right? Could be higher and lower, but how high is high enough? Right? So this is another problem. Right? So thank you for this question. So you can see low risk. And we should, you can see the minus, reduce our discount rate, right? Low, reduced by 3, very low, reduced by 8. But again, this is just an example. Managers still need to do the research themselves and finally make a decision. So next slide, we show you why we adjust the discount rate according to the project risk. Or think about our triangle. Remember the triangle is incorrect acceptance and incorrect rejection. So if we adjust our WACC or adjust our discount rate according to the project risk, higher risk, I use a higher discount rate. Median, the same discount rate, or lower discount rate for low risk. So you can see our incorrect area will become smaller. All right. It doesn't mean we don't have incorrect area. Incorrect area will become smaller. So you can see we have fewer incorrect acceptance decision and fewer incorrect rejection decision. Right? If we use different discount rate for different risk. All right. But like I think the student addressed a very good question. We still don't know, what is the perfect number. We don't know because finance is to deal with the cash flow in the future. We don't know the future. But what we can do is to reduce the mistake. Right? So you can see the incorrect area becomes smaller. All right. Okay, so we have the final PowerPoint slide. So the WACC is the measure of the current cost of the capital that the company has used to finance its project. It's a current cost, right? So it is an appropriate discount rate for evaluation project only if the project's systematic risk is the same as that the company current portfolio of the project. And 2, the project will be financed with the same mix of the debt and the equity as the company current portfolio of the project. All right, so they are the 2 conditions. If either of these 2 conditions does not hold, then managers should be careful in using the company current WACC to evaluate the project. Right? The solution is they adjust the discount rate according to the risk, all right? And we can reduce the mistake, all right? or incorrect area. Okay, I skipped the final topic, all right? So let me review this topic, then we can finish today's lecture. So conditions of using WIC, right? So the WIC is the appropriate discount rate only if the proposed investment is of similar risk of the firm's existing asset. Right? When a firm has different projects with different risks, its WIC is an average of the project required return. In such cases, the cost of capital for each project need to be established, all right? Need to be adjusted, right? For example, our unit, the new medical school, I think we need to use a new discount rate, right? Because it's totally different. If you do use the firm's current WACC for different projects, then riskier project will be incorrectly accepted. And the less risky project will be incorrect rejected. This will lead to an increase in the risk for the overall fund and the loss decrease its value. Okay. Okay, so we finished today's lecture. We have one more week. So I will use the lecture on Tuesday next week to do a review, right? To help your test 2, right? Test 2, we have 3 long answer questions. Because the test 2, they could be more difficult. I will try to provide some tip to you. And we have test 2 on next Wednesday. Please prepare the test and schedule your time. Right? So we don't have lecture on next Friday, all right? Because we have test on Wednesday. But we still have tutorial. We have one tutorial session on Thursday. I will tell the student on tutorial on Thursday, you can go to any tutorial on between Monday and Wednesday. Yeah. Beijing? Sorry? Yeah, we have one tutorial on Thursday. I will inform the student on the session, in the session. Yeah, they can choose any tutorial between Monday and Wednesday. Yeah, but for Monday, the tutorial Monday and the Wednesday, you don't need to consider this point. You just attend your original tutorial, all right? Okay, yeah, please let me know if you have any question. One more thing to do, the QR code. So give me a minute. Let me show you the QR code. Okay, student, the QR code is available. Thank you for attendance. Enjoy your weekend.